Hey guys, Chick here. Welcome to the BoomPS ToA Guide. What I'm going to be doing today is showing you starter to advanced techniques. This is going to get you completions from entry all the way up to 500 plus. So let's get right into it. I want to start out by talking a little bit about the invocations, what's right for you, and then gear setup, and then we'll get right into the raid. For invocations, 0 to anything under 150 is in entry mode, 150 to 300 is regular mode, and 300 plus is going to be in expert mode. Anything above the 450 range is going to be really high purple chances, so this is what you want to work towards. Starting out here, I think we'll leave it around entry or regular mode. If it's your first time, obviously give yourself a couple deaths. All 4 of these skull ones, these are for the amount of lives that you have in the raid. I'm going to leave it at hardcore run just to get some higher invocation. This is going to be timers. You're not going to be able to get 25 minutes. Leave it at 40 to be safe, even if you're going for regular mode. It's just easier that way. As you get more into it, you can find out what your timings are and then kind of scale it accordingly. For supplies that you get throughout the raid, starting out, I wouldn't touch any of these so that you can have as much supplies as you can as you're going through the rooms. These 4 right here are going to be about leveling the bosses, so how much HP they have, and how much defense they have, and how hard they hit. So for this one, we'll level them up just by 1, and we won't have them level up throughout the raid. Quiet prayers, deadly prayers, these ones are pretty self-explanatory, we'll say it right there. We're going to turn these on just to get a higher invocation level. On a diet, you're not really going to bring food, you're going to bring brews and restores, so on a diet is fine. We're going to turn on a couple of these are kind of free. Medic is going to ruin your life, never have that on. More overlords is going to make Kefri a lot longer. And aerial assault, trust me, never turn this one on. As you get into the higher invocations, get used to Kefri only doing attack that is 1 space wide. When it is the 3x3, it's going to mess with you when you get to Wardens, and we'll explain all that later. For Zebak, at higher invocations, he can get pretty hairy, so what we're going to do is always have this, and this on. These are all very easy to avoid. Upset stomach is the one that gets a little bit difficult at a higher invocation. For Akka, we're going to be learning the butterfly. So in reality, we can have all these on. If you can't figure out the butterfly, which I will show you, then you're going to have none of these on, and you're just going to try and brute force your way through Akka. We're going to have all these on. For Baba, the monkey, the gap means whenever he throws you to the bottom, if you're in the middle, you die. That's it. So when you're starting out, definitely don't have that one on. The rest of these are going to be pretty easy. And again, you can just go through and read these. Boulder Dash, I'm going to leave that one off because that's how fast the boulders come down. And then these 6 down here are going to be for the Wardens. This is going to be P1 and P2 Warden, so how fast those charge up, how much damage they do. And this is going to be for P3 Warden, which is the final boss where the tiles lift up in the room. So we're going to put on these to make the first Wardens a little bit harder. And then we'll have it a little bit sped up for P3 Warden, and this is going to leave us around 280. So just under expert, it's going to be entry. Another thing about Boom is scaling of the bosses, how much health they have, how hard they hit, is also based off your invocation. This is different from old school RuneScape. So the higher your invocation, whether or not you jump into expert or you're just below, if you go from 340 to 500, the boss's health is going to scale. So just watch out for that. So we're going to do a 280, and I already made a pre-made set. For ToA Learner, this setup right here might look a bit weak. This can get me 520 easily. This is going to do all the melee damage you need because we can now butterfly with range for Akka. This is going to be your highest DPS. As long as you have a Bofa, you're good to go. Make sure you have an Abby Dagger, and obviously you do need all 3 styles. Mage is obviously the weakest here. This is all you're going to need. There's really not much mage in the rest of this raid. So, this is going to be our setup. Some non-negotiables here are going to be Bofa, if you're trying to go for higher raids. If you have a lower range setup, it's fine for entry mode, but as you progress through the invocations, it's just not going to cut it. You need the DPS of the Bofa. And obviously anything higher than that, obviously it's going to overperform. A non-negotiable is the blowpipe. This is going to make your life a lot easier, and you'll see it throughout the raid. And another non-negotiable is having some sort of dagger. So, since I have the Abyssal Dagger, I'm obviously just going to use that. If I didn't, I would just have a DDS somewhere in my inventory. Also very important, anything that can lower defense. A BGS, Elder Maul, Dragon Warhammer, whatever you have, just bring something like that so you can spec at the beginning, make each boss a little bit faster that way. Other than that, the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. I will bring a couple brews just so you can see the setup. When you're starting out, obviously bring a couple brews. Inventory looks something like that. We're going to pre-pot up. The only potion we need to bring with us is one range potion of any kind. The only time you need offensive boosting potions is going to be for the second room, and that's it for the whole raid. So just bring one ranging potion and you're going to be fine. Trust me on the layout. Always go Kefri, Zebek, Akka, then Baba. And you'll see as we get through this, but at a higher invocation, Kefri is really tough. You always want to knock him out first, because this can be a 15-minute boss. And if you save it for last, it's going to be even longer, so always do Kefri first. If you are on Runelight, you're just going to have the plugin that's going to show you all these puzzles, make it easy. Whenever I see the obelisk, I go to the same side so I can avoid it because it takes a little bit longer. Alright, quick rundown of what we're going to do here, just because it gets a little bit confusing once we're actually in the room and everything starts happening at once. Kefri is going to do a standard attack, which is just drops a bomb. It's going to be one tile because we set the invocation that way. And then every handful of attacks, he's going to toss you to the back of the room, leaving a dung line. Now you can't jump over that dung line, and they stack up around the room, so you have to make sure that they're stacked on top of each other. So I always just start it in this corner. You'll see me stand on this tile here. It can be whichever corner you want to. This is just the one that I'm used to. And then you're going to stack by standing next to it each time and making sure that it's just moving one tile of dung, closing the room off slowly that way. But in a regular mode ToA, it's not going to have much effect. So we go in, lower the defense of the boss, spawn our thrall, and then just DPS the boss. Flies are swarming, dung's incoming, right on the corner. Perfect. Alright, once his health goes down, range bug will spawn. Try and get a couple of hits, and then blowpipe all the swarm bugs. These are your biggest focus here. This isn't going to do much damage to you. Focus on the ones healing the boss. If you have a blowpipe, you can get them all. Do damage on this scarab when you can, but just focus on these. I tagged all of them just so I can see them more clearly. This is the most important part of Kefri, is making sure he doesn't heal up too much. Make sure we get this guy down. And a little bit cornered. So this is the issue, what happens when you don't set up your downlines properly. It's going to be fine because we're at a low invocation. But ideally you want to stack them one by one next to each other. Always spawn your throw. Alright, this time we pray melee. We try and kill this guy as fast as we can, because he's going to heal the boss as well. The second he's down, put on mage. So if this guy heals up all the way, charges his attack, he will one-shot you. So always make sure that you have mage pretty. Now, same thing, do damage here when you can. Other than that, focus on the shield, healing scarabs. And then that's it, we're just back to BoomPS and the boss. Try and stack your lines. Once they're set up like this, you have two jet out this way. You have to start building them from this corner, or it's just going to spawn straight into the line that way. On his final shield, what's going to happen is when he gets to 0 health, he's going to automatically spawn a gun line. So just be cautious of that if you're in the middle of attacking him. And I'll show you right here. Sends us to there. So make sure you don't get trapped in there. Same thing. This is the end of it. Just DPS the boss. And that's it. Boss over. Second room, Zebak. The puzzle room is to feed this tree with water, so we grab a water container. I always go this side, it's just what I'm used to. Melee, they can hit super hard. Alright, so I am going to lower his defense at the beginning. This isn't totally necessary. You're going to be ranging this boss the whole time. If you are in melee distance, this thing can hit hard. He attacks with mage and range, and does 4 special attacks, which we'll see throughout the fight. So, that was melee distance. You don't want to do that. Range attack. This is the acid attack here. We have to be at least 3 tiles behind one of these. So, we're easy now here. I can just hit this one. It's going to clear this area. Stand behind here, I'm safe. This is the wave. So all you have to do is look for the opening. Perfect, we're in there. That's it. He just does 2 of each of these attacks. I don't think he's going to do all 4 because we're doing a little too much damage. On the side note, throws don't work here, so don't worry about them here. This enrage phase is just Jad phase. Special information range. And these are on impact. So we'll wait until the last second. And that's that. Since we completed 2 bosses, we are now going to get supplies. And since we didn't have any invocations to give us less supplies, we have full choice. This is going to be a little bit of preference. I'm always going to pick power because I don't use many supplies. If you are struggling to keep supplies throughout the raid, you're either going to pick chaos or life. Preferably chaos because these salts are like overloads. They're going to boost all your stats to 125. They're really good. And this is going to make all your specs use only half the special attack. So I'm going to grab that one. We don't need this anymore. This is a little bank deposit, so you can put anything you don't need in there. It's always a good idea to make sure your inventory is set up to your liking before you go in a room. Makes it a lot easier. Alright, Akka puzzle. If this is a bronze pickaxe, because you didn't store a pickaxe, it's fine. As long as you have 99 mining, it's going to be a 1 down every time. So we're here. Runelight plugin tells us exactly what to do. Now, on old school RuneScape, the butterfly is completely different. This is boom specific just because mechanics are never really going to be one-to-one. So we found one that works here. The idea is as the boss is coming towards you, he's 1 tile away, you step under. As he goes to turn around to chase you, you're an extra tile away. So you keep going that way. So more or less you're moving between each of these 2 corners. If you have a shadow, you're going to be moving from here to here. So just back and forth from these 2 tiles. And you're going to be avoiding all the boss's attacks, special attacks, and everything. All you're going to be doing is damage to Akka, and taking down the shadows, and moving through each quadrant. So I'll show you what that looks like. It might be a little bit confusing. While you're learning the raid, I would suggest just starting at Akka, just going into the raid, going into Akka, and trying to learn this because this is going to be the most important part for getting you to the higher invocation and successful raids later down the line. Because when you have all the Akka invocations on, boosts it up, I think 60 or 80 or something in that range. And that's going to get you a lot of points towards your purple. So you really want to focus on getting this butterfly down for Akka. If you can't do it, just have all the invocations off so he doesn't do crazy special attacks. And just try to brute force it. He will just switch through the attacks. When he is praying against melee, you can attack him with Ranger Mage, and then he'll go through. Whatever he is praying over his head is what you're going to pray against. That's what he's going to be attacking with as well. So we're going to go in. Use our Assault. Turn on Rigor. Drag the boss over. Come to this tile. Once he's 1 tile away, that's it. He'll never hit you. This goes for anywhere in the room, as long as you're diagonally 1 tile away from him. You step under, and then you can see you're an extra tile away. And that's it. That's all you do for Akka. Let off DPS whenever you can. And I will try to get my tiles somewhere in the Discord so you guys can just copy this exact tile pack. I put them in weird colors just because that was my brain association. But that's it. That's how simple it is. It's not as hard as we're making it out to be. Also, make sure you have his true tile on or this won't work. So for mobile players, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Until we have true tile on mobile, you can't do much about that. So DPS the boss until the shadows come up. That's why you're throwing this one. During this phase, you're dodging the white balls. You can only attack him with melee, and he's going to switch around to all 4 of these spots. As long as you have him tagged, it's going to give it away every time. He's going to be bright blue. So, spec him out. 4 damage, so be careful of those. And just like that, hardest boss of the 4 is done. It's easy, so I would really just take the time to learn the butterfly. And it's much easier than you think. As long as you can just get from corner to corner, you're going to be fine. His true tile is going to hit right on this corner. He's 1 tile away from you. That's when you go underneath him and keep going to the other side. Once you get the hang of it, it's free roam. Alrighty, and so last is going to be Baba, everyone's favorite puzzle room. We're going to grab our supplies, grab a hammer, grab a potion, and we start the run. Now, on entry mode and regular mode, you can just blow pipe this whole thing. It's easy. And you can see how I have them all tagged. The melee brawler, melee monkey, you're going to attack this one with mage normally at higher invocations. And the range monkey, which I will have tagged as red, you're going to attack that one with melee. With everything else you can range even at high invocations. The other part to this is a red skull is going to spawn either here or right here. If the red skull is on the pillar, you click it to repair. That's what happens when you make a mistake. If it spawns above the vent, you stand on the vent, click this potion, and you're good to go. If you mess any of those up, you're going to take the 40 plus damage every time, so it can be very punishing. Now for Baba. Alright, this is a melee boss. You will need to use your blowpipe when he throws you down to the bottom for the rocks, as we'll see. These tiles I have marked for the gap invocation. We don't have that on, so we don't have to worry about that. You're going to pray melee, entirely, salt back up. If you want to, we know we have 4 doses of liquid adrenaline. We could. This is going to half our spec. We don't really need to here because it's the invocation. We bring the boss down to the bottom. We fight him down here. I'll show you why in just a second. The bottom. Now when this happens, you want to be close to the bottom. Like so. Pull out a blowpipe and hit the cracked rock and just move up. And then boom, you're safe. Come up here, he aggroes you, and then you run right back down so you can be in your corner. Now we're down at the bottom. Never get greedy here. Stops doing the boulders, aggroes you, Bring him down a little bit. And that's Baba. Now, since we got power in the beginning, after we did the fourth boss, we're going to the big boss. We're gonna claim from the helpful spirit. We already have adrenaline and salts, so we're fine there. So we're gonna pick life. This ambrosia here is gonna heal you to 125 health. These are super nice to have. If you ever make a mistake, just drink one of these and you're fine. So we won't need these. Open up our supplies, organize our inventory. These are gonna do prayer over time. Kind of like the prayer regeneration from Cox, but they're a lot faster and do more prayer per tick. Supplies, so whenever I shift click, when I hold shift, it resupplies. So that means if I take a sip of any of these, and it's 3, I resupply, and it fills everything in my inventory back up, drawing from my supplies in here. Alright, so 3 parts to the Warden. The first 2 parts are in this room. Part 1 is this obelisk. You're taking it down, and I'll show you how to charge up the right Warden. Part 2 is you're actually fighting these Wardens, and once they are all the way down, Part 3 is the final boss, P3 Warden. This is the one where, if you're familiar, it's the tiles lifting up on the ground. We're just going to be getting right into it, because the easiest way to do it is just to get into it, and you kind of learn as you go, but I'll explain everything as it happens. So, when we begin, we click this guy, we hit begin. We're going to run to this side, so that we block the obelisk charging this Warden, and it's going to charge this Warden. This is the one we want to fight. Now, 100% of the time, you're going to want to fight this one. At higher invocations, you do not want to fight this Warden. When it comes to P3 Warden, he's going to spawn the other bosses from the rooms we just did. This one is going to spawn Kefri and Akka. These ones are very manageable. At higher invocations, when they spawn Zebak and Baba, they're just, it's unplayable. Just trust me. Always charge up this Warden. So we're going to begin. We're going to drink some liquid adrenaline so we can spec this down a bit. DPS this while we're taking the damage of the charging from the obelisk. Whatever it is your highest DPS. So he spawns. What we're going to do initially is use range. So, Augury is on. Now when he does boom, that attack, that's almost always when he mage. Uses that attack is out of range. Now when I say almost always mage, it's because the mage attack can be special attacks, and it can be... We need to be a mage, range, or melee attack. You just have to be head on a swivel whenever he does the mage attack. Whenever it's range, it's range. You're good to go there. When he drops down, this is the reason you bring a dagger. You're going to DDS spec this down because it does double max hit, and it's going to do the most damage against the Warden. When he comes back up, we're switching to mage. So when it's right here, you can just take a step forward and it dodges it every time. Coming down, switch to our dagger. Let's back it out. If we did it right, it's going to be a 2 down. And just like that, we are on to P3 Warden. Very important that you bit, so whatever you brought. You're going to head over to the right side and go over to the boss. Right, then left, then down. When you first get in here, just practice the right, left, middle, because this is the entirety of the fight. You're going to do this the entire time. So, get comfortable with that. Kind of the same thing here. Whatever highest DPS you have, just use that. So I'll be using both up. And as you do more damage, this is when he's going to spawn out the other bosses from being on the raid. Skull spawn, top priority. Attack, attack. You're almost always going to hit them. And then it's always going to go to the right side unless you're on insanity. So, get back to your right side. Attack. Now, as we just saw a second ago, whenever he does that, slams his spear on the ground, he switches from mage to range. It's hard to keep track of as you're doing this, and also when you have certain invitations on, he'll swap that pretty well. But you gotta pay attention to that. The white is a range attack, and the red is a range attack. Be worried about. That's him switching. That's him switching. After you do this a handful of times, it just becomes second nature. It's going to watch the out of the corner of your eye. But at first, it can be very frustrating. This is why you don't want to do the one-line combination. Melee these. So now we have Kefri to deal with as well. And you'll see, just like when you're fighting him, he just sends his attack. That's why we never turn on his large radius attack invocation, because that's going to make this absolute hell. If it ever feels chaotic, just stop attacking the boss. If you ever get stressed out, these guys are going to start going crazy. There's going to be black spots everywhere. The idea is to dodge these, just bounce around. He's going to start removing layer by layer from the back door. It's going to get stressful. Always remember you need to have ambrosia. Back above the layers door. So, make sure to go. Play as safe as you can. But just remember, if you panic, this is going to save you. You can take tons of damage, still be fine. Once you blow it. by the way, is 3 tiles. This raid is very punishing on mechanics, but it's rewarding. Scam game. And that's about that. Sorry if this is a super long video, I just wanted something in depth, because I know we get a lot of questions on these. But that is the raid. And if this were a 450, I'd probably be getting a purple right now. So work towards the higher invocations, and this rig gets pretty free. It just rewards proper mechanics. Other than that, you guys know where to find me. PM me on Discord, PM me in game. My private's usually always on. Just didn't want any disruption for the video. And I'm always down to do learner runs, whatever you guys need. We can do in-depth videos, and as long as everyone's comfortable, we can start doing higher invocation raids. Yeah, that's about all.